Welcome back to another episode of the Football Fundits. This is the first edition called the Transfer Center. And before I go further into the topics we'll be discussing today, we have Vishesh with us from the United Star. It's a Manchester United fan channel which we've worked with in the past. I do urge you guys to go, give them a follow, especially for Manchester United fans. The transfer market has opened a couple of days back on the 26th. It will end on the 5th of October, the same as Germany and Spain. And after that, in the English Premier League, the English Premier League sides will be able to buy or loan players to the championship clubs. Now coming to our first point of discussion, Jadon Sancho. Guys, this has been another one of those. Manchester United, will they sign? Won't they sign? Wesley Sneijder. Oh my God, like the list is endless, right? Vishesh, what are your thoughts?
Firstly, thank you for having me on the channel. Secondly, talking about Jadon Sancho, I see this transfer happening. There's no way it's not happening. I see the player wants to come to United. And personally, I think this transfer would have happened last summer as well. It's just the board that let us down. That's my personal inclination to this. As far as when can I expect this to happen, I think both parties are moving forward in a positive way. And it's rumored that a bid has been rejected of around 98 million. But let's see how things are. There's a lot going around that, we could see Tahith Chong go out on loan to Dortmund and Sancho coming in. But he's a player we definitely need in our attack to give competition to the likes of Greenwood and Martial, even though he plays on the right. So I definitely see Sancho coming to United.
Before we move to another position, guys, why we need a right winger. We do need meaningful squad depth, right? This squad is very thin. That's what Manchester United fans saw towards the end of the restart part of the Premier League season, right? Now let's assume if it's not Jadon Sancho, Kern, who else would it be? We need someone on the right before we move on to anybody else.
Honestly, I'm not even looking at who else it would be because I think, as Vishesh said, the Jadon Sancho deal is done. It seems, everything is in place. I think it's more or less barring something catastrophic. I think that deal is going to go ahead. My only thing in this is, again, as Vishesh mentioned, the board. We were let down with Bruno coming in Jan instead of the summer. Imagine we would have, discussing a completely different season right now, potentially, if that would have happened. So the main thing is I hope we just close deals quicker. The board is doing better in terms of getting more better price values. Like we're sort of, putting our foot down and saying, you know what, you can't just milk us anymore. So I hope, we still go down that route. But having said that, not delay. Sancho should be ideally coming in before Europa. So Europa can be his preseason tour. He can get in the team. He can sort of get gelled in with everyone. So I don't see anyone else coming in there, honestly. But I'm just hoping whenever that deal happens, it happens next week or 2 weeks max.
I'm not being skeptical of the deal, but I just feel that Borussia Dortmund are holding out for a little too much. I think 120 million in this transfer market. Yes, I know that they can capitalize on the fact that there is only going to be one buyer, which is Man United. He's either going to move to United or he's not going to move at all, right? There's no way that he's going to go to another club. No one's really forcing that. No one's going to shell out those kind of funds for him. Apparently, United have a bid for 80 million that's gone in, and that has been rejected because Dortmund are stubbornly holding out for 120 million. I think the other way that this could pan out is if Jadon Sancho, the player himself, starts creating a bit of unrest, right? If he starts agitating for a move, I think only then will both clubs agree to a fee. So I think the real talking point on this is, can the clubs agree a fee? Because I think we all agree that Jadon Sancho wants to go to United. United want Jadon Sancho. Dortmund are opening to selling Jadon Sancho. So maybe that's that on Jadon Sancho, which leads me to the second option with Jadon Sancho that I personally, as a United fan, would love to see. Because Kern rightly touched upon squad depth at United, and I think Jack Grealish sits beautifully at a 50 million sort of target if he were to come at that price. I think something that we've constantly spoken about this entire summer, this entire season is about United deepening and having meaningful squad depth. Jack Grealish and Jadon Sancho could really give them that. The only thing I'll throw out there, though, is Jack Grealish might actually have a better career at a club like Arsenal, right? They've shown some interest. He'll definitely play 40 games a season. Just in terms of playing time, the ability to become a leader in that dressing room, vis-a-vis a more sort of peripheral role at Man United. What do you guys think?
Vishesh, before I know you wanted to say something, adding to Abhishek's point and putting Grealish and Sancho together, it really matters why United are underbidding for Sancho is what Dortmund feel, is because Manchester United also want to go for a Grealish level kind of guy, right? So it depends on how much the club really wants to spend. They want to spend 150 overall. Does that include incomings and outgoings? What do they really want to spend, right? So Abhishek rightly said 50 million for Grealish is the right amount of money. Anything more than it should not be considered because that will take away from adding any squad depth for the side. And then moving on to, does Grealish really fit with the Manchester United? I personally have my doubts, and I don't really want to see my Manchester United. Vishesh, what do you want?
Personally, I think Grealish does fit, and then he fits into the squad depth kind of idea of things. 80 million, I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't pay that much for him, and probably 50 million is round about what I would pay for him. We're talking about Sancho and Grealish. We anyways broke the record for the most amount of penalties. And then we're getting in Sancho, who got 10 penalties in Bundesliga, and Grealish, who's the most foul player in the Premier League. So we need such players to, help boost our attack. Grealish will definitely not be a starting 11, sadly, but he would definitely, give Bruno a rest. And I just wanted to add one point to the Sancho thing. I think there is something tactically going on at United because we wanted Jude Bellingham, and he's gone to Dortmund, and we put in everything for Jude Bellingham, right? We made Cantona talk to him. We got Sir Alex Ferguson. So there must be something behind that as well.
The only thing with Grealish is that if United get sucked into a bidding war, which looks most likely, I don't think we'll win a bidding war of Grealish because I just don't see us spending more than 50, 60 on him. Which begs the question.
A bidding war with who? Like a bidding war with Arsenal, we're going to win, man. I think the only time Arsenal spends money was like last season, bro.
I wouldn't be so confident, Karan, because if you look at Aubameyang for a second, right? Look at his situation. I personally don't think he's going to stay at Arsenal because he's on his last legs in terms of his career. No Champions League football, no Europa. He's going to want to move, and this is his opportunity to move and get that final transfer, right? So I don't think we'll be able to compete with Arsenal on this. The other thing with Arsenal is, right, with no Champions League, they don't have the attraction or the lure that Man United provide, right? Even without Champions League football. So I really think they will have to break the bank for an above average and potential player like they did with Pepe last year, right? They broke the bank, 80 million for Nicolas Pepe, who, if you think about it, tremendous potential, but on the Jack Grealish kind of scale of, can hopefully do big things.
No,
but not
I disagree, man. I think he didn't perform, but he was a superstar at that point. He was actually tearing it apart in the league. You would never heard of him. Probably don't follow the league or whatever reasons. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But he was absolutely killing it. Every United fan wanted him. I wanted him United. He was absolutely killing it. Like, him coming on the right wing last year. Like he was a massive signing. He was one of the marquee signings for last season. So in that comparison, I think it's completely unfair to compare.
I think just his price tag made it marquee. I genuinely think his price tag made it marquee.
No, his stats made it marquee. His stats made him marquee. The fact that he got he got so many goals and assists and everything, that is what made him marquee, not the price tag. That is what added the price tag.
Yeah, and also the price tag was added because they made the club looked him onto a new contract before they sold him to make sure that they can command that price tag, right? And they knew we might not have a good second season, so build off that, let him go. Coming to what Abhishek said, actually, what I took away from that was Aubameyang coming to Manchester United. Anybody? Because where else is he going to go?
City.
Another Van Persie?
I think he should go to City.
I was actually going to come in to a point that I would not be surprised if Aubameyang actually goes to Manchester City. Looking at the fact that the most experienced striker, Aguero, doesn't look like he has the legs anymore. Injuries are getting more and more serious. Jesus is not ready. On the free, only wages to consider. Why not, right? And on the topic of City, we read something earlier today about Nathan Ake. Vishesh, again, this is something I want to talk to you about because Manchester United need a centre-back. Why didn't they go for Nathan Ake?
So Manchester United are linked to like multiple centre-backs when it comes to it, and especially left-footed centre-backs. If you look at the other centre-backs also, there's a player known as Paul Torres, and there's another one linked from Lille today. But as far as Nathan Ake, I just don't see him as the finished product yet. He was good in a Bournemouth side, but I don't see him coming and, providing something that the likes of Tuan Zebi or maybe even Tiden Mengi may be able to provide to the squad. So I would have probably seen him as a rotational centre-back and not a starting 11 player. And 41 million for a rotational centre-back just doesn't make it for me.
But Vishesh, where I think Ake has an opportunity is in whether he would have gone to United or even City. Now that he's gone to City, there are technically places up for grabs, right? It's not like a Liverpool where Van Dijk has absolutely cemented one spot. It's not like a United where Maguire has absolutely cemented one spot. I just feel that City's centre backs have actually been one of their weaknesses this year. I'm talking about the entire season, not just how they finished or how they started.
Of course, Fernandinho was playing centre back. That's the reason why they're second for me.
So my point is, an Aki can actually challenge for a starting berth, which is why I think he's a good signing. Because if he clicks, right, then you're essentially looking at John Stones maybe sitting out, or you're looking at.
But when we're looking at United, personally, I feel that a centre back isn't our priority in the pecking order. I'm going for right wing and midfielder rather than centre back, which could be that push the funds in Sancho and maybe Grealish hypothetically, and hold back on Ake. And if Ake was going for 41 million, that completely changes the 150 or 180 million discussion that we were having earlier.
Okay, and also then it also goes into, I'm going to add the third point, is the third person we're looking at after right wing and midfielder will be a left back. So centre back goes down that fourth pecking order. Right now we need to finish the Sancho transfer and then see what the fund situation is like. And when we were talking about bidding wars earlier, City are the team we don't want to be getting into a bidding war with, especially after losing Maguire to us. There's no way Pep would have done another one of those. So that's the bidding war that I think would have created a problem. I'm not fussed at all about losing Aki, to be very honest. And I think it's great that Bournemouth have cashed in on this. But I think that's a problem that Villa could have with Grealish. They've set the 80 million mark, right? And that could probably screw them out of it. Like last season when United were linked to the Longstaff brothers, we were linked to Sean Longstaff. Newcastle put an atrocious amount on that. And seeing how the season's gone, they're never going to get that sort of money from them anymore, So I think the clubs selling also sort of need to be a little, little careful about these things this window.
I think just finishing that point off, it's important to note everybody that Manchester City have no ban. So they will come out swinging, knowing that they can spend whatever money they want. And I don't think FFP is really going to apply to them for the coming season too. So they are really going to go for any possible player the rivals are going for. If they think Liverpool's going to go for somebody, they might just swoop in that. Don't forget, they want to catch up on Liverpool. They're not looking down at United. They're looking at the top as well, right? Let's move on to a player who we've seen enjoying on the sidelines when Real Madrid were winning their latest league title, wearing the mask on his eyes, chilling on the sidelines when the trophy is being lifted. Gareth Bale. Yes, his age is a bit of an issue, but would Gareth Bale be back in a Premier League side?
I mean, his age and wage.
I feel
both are very big issues.
I don't think his wage would be a very big issue.
600,000 euros a week.
I'm quite sure it would work itself out. I feel the problem is, does he still fit into the Premier League side? I don't think I would want.
I think I agree with Abby that wage also doesn't fit into a Premier League side.
600,000 euros a week for a 31-year-old guy who hasn't played competitive football in 6 months. No chance. And who's been injury prone.
No,
Tremendous footballer.
I'm anyway saying I don't see him in the Premier League at all, which means he has only one destination to go to.
He'll go to Shanghai Shenhua or he'll go to that SIPG. He's definitely going to. They blocked his transfer last year.
He's going to go to PSG and PSG. They're not going to get Mbappe. That's what's going to happen.
Who's going to get Mbappe?
Madrid.
They're not going to spend those monies this year, man.
Did Mbappe just confirm his stay at PSG like a week back?
Yeah. And not
only
the
that, only place that Bale can go is PSG. I mean, on this current wage, either China, but China themselves have also put in stricter rules on wages and stuff like that from a year ago.
I think a top 6 side in the Premier League right now would really want to go.
Unless he takes a massive wage cut.
Okay, so then move on to someone who actually made. Let's move on to a club which has actually made moves in the transfer market so far. Chelsea. Go on, continue with Chelsea.
Yeah. Actually, before going there, Bale reminded me of a position that City have also recruited in or are going to finish recruiting in, which is a Sane replacement. They're signing another lad, Ferran Torres is who they're linked to, and they're supposed to complete that deal. Just want to throw that in there since we're discussing the transfers. But to Chelsea, man, absolutely killing it again. That position we're talking about.
I love Hakim Ziyech.
That's how you do. That's how you do the business, right? That's how you do your business. You don't get into a bidding war. You finish your business and shut shop and wait for your rivals to keep messing around.
But is it actually that surprising? Having a full season without any transfers, this was something that we should have expected as football fans, that Chelsea will go all out this summer. I mean, they've already got 2 players. They're looking at Havertz. They're looking at a keeper. They're a side to be wary of.
And they're looking at Ben Chilwell, who's apparently the next big transfer target.
Yep. Apparently, they've beat City out of that for that move. But I don't think it's just missing out in the last window. I think Chelsea traditionally have been a side end to end, top to bottom, which has been very structured. And I think if you are a Manchester United fan, if you're a fan of any top six club, United is the worst when it comes to transfers, right? Which is why they get dragged on and on and on in these bidding wars and end up losing out on players and vice versa. I think we've spoken enough about who.
And you remember how we signed Kevin Strootman, Wesley Schneider, Ian Robin, John Obi Mikel. Let's come on. Let's do this.
Everyone who's ever played football has played for Man United.
Eden Hazard
was done.
How he came.
Lucas
Moura was done.
Lucas Moura was almost a done deal. That's right. But you know what? It doesn't matter because I think this year United seem to have a much better transfer strategy in place. I hope. But I think right now, if you were to rate the Premier Leagues on their transfers right now, I know Arsenal are going in for Thomas Partey. Nothing is done yet. But I think Chelsea lead this transfer table with Hakim Ziyech, Timo Werner and possibly Kai Havertz. Right now, they're probably leading.
Chelsea right now is 9 on 10 for me. United would that scale would be 4 on 10 again. Way back in the line.
I'm going to throw a last question to you guys from me. We're looking at, the teams that have done well in the window. Is where I'm interested in Liverpool. They lost out on Werner, right? And, maybe this is a question for the next episode. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Like, if Liverpool fans are watching this, who are the people that you want to see come to the club? They've really changed their transfer strategy completely. The transfers, last couple of them haven't really worked out. Minamao, Kita, all those guys haven't really done their things. I'm also going to be very interested in seeing how Liverpool go about their business.
I think for Liverpool, it's more of a centre midfielder because Lallana's gone out as well. Henderson's aging as well. So they have been linked with Thiago from Bayern. So I could see that happening with Thiago not wanting to sign a new contract. It all depends if the front three stays because I don't think they have depth in the front three.
I think we've got a great summary of the transfer window so far on our first ever Transfer Central at Football Fundits. I'm already excited, man, to see what happens in the transfer window. It's going to be a crazy couple of weeks. Just a reminder, the transfer window closes on 5th October, so there's a lot of time there. Lot of impatience amongst all United fans, which happens to be the 4 of us. But looking forward to the next discussion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Vishesh.
Thank you.